So the Cowboys' 2025 season wrapped up, and honestly, I'm sitting here trying to process what the hell just happened. Another year, another disappointment, and this time it feels different. The front office is talking about evaluating everything, and I mean everything. Players are getting released, coaches might be on the hot seat, and we're staring down the barrel of what could be the most important offseason in recent memory. But here's the thing, are we actually going to make the changes we need, or are we going to keep spinning our wheels? Stick around, because what I'm about to break down is going to make you rethink everything you thought you knew about this team's direction. What's up, Cowboys? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about America's team. Alright, let me set the stage here. I actually went to the season finale at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Yeah, I made the trip. And let me tell you, watching this team in person made it crystal clear. We are exactly who we thought we were. No surprises, no hidden potential waiting to explode, just the same issues we've been dealing with all season long, now magnified on the biggest stage when it mattered least. The defense? Absolutely atrocious. And I'm not being dramatic here. I'm talking historically bad. Listen to this. In 2 games against the Giants this season, we gave up 71 points. 71! Against the Giants, who were barely competitive most of the year. For the entire season, the defense surrendered 511 points. That's the most in franchise history. I don't care if you're comparing it to a 12-game season, 14, 16, or 17 games. This is the worst. The average was 30.1 points per game. Think about that. We were giving up over 30 points in a game on average. That's worse than the 1960 defense. Worse than anything we saw under Wade Phillips or Rob Ryan or anyone else. This was a complete disaster. And here's what kills me. James Houston had a chance to be the sack leader for the team, but Javian Clowney swooped in at the last second with 3 sacks to take that honor. But you know what? Since 1982, the lowest number of sacks to lead our team was 6. Clowney and Houston were sitting at 5.5 before those final games. 5.5 sacks to lead the Dallas Cowboys. That's embarrassing. That tells you everything about our pass rush, our defensive scheme, and our inability to generate pressure when it mattered. Now let's talk about the offensive side. Dak Prescott nearly won the passing title this year, right? The offense was productive, putting up points. But here's the reality check. We didn't make the playoffs. We had the #1 offense and still couldn't get into the postseason. That tells you everything about the defensive collapse. When your quarterback is putting up elite numbers and you're still sitting at home in January, you've got a massive problem on the other side of the ball. The game itself yesterday was a microcosm of the entire season. We looked decent for maybe a quarter, showed some life for half a quarter, and then it all went downhill. Jaden Blue had 11 carries for 76 yards in the first half, looking explosive, running hard, doing what we needed. Then in the second half, 5 carries for -12 yards. Every single time he touched the ball, he was getting hit 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. The Giants' defense swarmed him. It was like watching a completely different game. And with Joe Milton at quarterback in the second half, everyone knew what was coming. When your rookie running back is in, they're expecting run. The defense loaded up, and we had zero answer for it. Speaking of the secondary, let me ask you this. Who the hell is Gunnar Olszewski, number 80 for the Giants? 8 catches, 102 yards. Never heard of him. And that's the story of our season, isn't it? Every week, some random receiver we've never heard of lights us up. Gunnar had 4 targets, 2 catches, and 43 yards before this game. He ended up being their leading receiver against us. That's the Dallas Cowboys defense in a nutshell. We make nobodies look like Pro Bowlers. And look, I know we were playing with backups at cornerback. I get it. DaRon Bland was hurt and clearly not himself, and we were trotting out guys who got cut by other teams in August. Reddy Stewart played 519 snaps this year, 4th most in our secondary, and he was cut by the Vikings before the season started. Trequay Bridges, a 7th-round rookie who got cut by the Chargers, was starting for us. This is what we were working with at the cornerback position. But here's my problem. Every team deals with injuries. San Francisco has been decimated with injuries, but they still find ways to make plays when they need to. We don't. Okay, now let's get into the real talk here. Jerry Jones came out after the game and made it very clear. They're evaluating everything this offseason. Not just Matt Eberflus, not just one coordinator or one position group. Everything. He said you can look back at decisions made 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and examine why they made those decisions, what they expected from coaches, how personnel fit the scheme. He was adamant that it's inaccurate to just put this on an evaluation of Eberflus. It's much broader than that. And honestly, that's both encouraging and terrifying. Encouraging because maybe, just maybe, we're finally going to have some real accountability, but terrifying because we've heard this before, haven't we? How many times have we been promised a thorough evaluation, a complete overhaul, a fresh start? And what happens? We bring back the same guys, make minimal changes, and expect different results. Jerry even acknowledged that during Dan Quinn's years, when we had one of the better defenses in the league, we were still porous in the playoffs. We couldn't buckle up and stop teams when it mattered most. So even when things looked good on paper, we failed when the lights were brightest. And now, we don't even have that upper half defense to fall back on. We're giving up 30 points a game and making backup receivers look like all pros. The big question everyone's asking is about the draft and free agency. Where do we focus our attention? I've been going back and forth on this all season. At the beginning of the year, I would have told you middle linebacker, no question. We need a guy who can command the middle of that defense, someone who can make tackles, read plays, and be the quarterback of the defense. Elijah Clark hasn't been that guy. Maurice Lifau barely saw the field. He had like 3 snaps in that final game. Marquise Bell and Shamar James have shown flashes, but they're not complete linebackers yet. James is only 21 years old, played 3 years of college ball, and he's still raw. We need a veteran presence, someone like Eric Kendricks, who sat unsigned most of the offseason before San Francisco picked him up after Fred Warner got hurt. But then there's the offensive line. Tyler Smith at left tackle. Is that the move? He played there when we needed him, and he's got the athleticism to do it. But here's my concern. We drafted Tyler Guyton to be our left tackle of the future, and he can't stay healthy. How many seasons are we going to go through where Guyton either can't make it through training camp or gets hurt during the year? At what point do we say enough is enough and go get a real left tackle through the draft or free agency? And let me tell you why the offensive line matters so much. Dak is 32 years old now. He took some massive hits this season. In the game before the Giants finale, he was sacked 6 times, hit multiple times. At some point, those hits take a toll. We got lucky this year that Dak stayed healthy for 17 games, but how much longer can we rely on that? If we don't protect our highest paid player in the league, we're wasting his prime years. And we've already wasted this season with the #1 offense and no playoff berth. The defensive line is another massive need. Quinnen Williams is elite when healthy, but we have 0 depth behind him. Javian Clowney is heading into his 13th season. Do we re-sign him? Absolutely. He wants to be here, he's been productive, and he's a leader. But we can't rely on a 33-year-old edge rusher to carry that unit. We need youth, we need explosiveness, and we need guys who can generate consistent pressure. There's talk about some edge rushers in this draft, guys from Miami, potentially Ruben Bain Jr. if we can trade up. But are we really going to trade both our first-round picks to move into the top 5? I doubt it. We need as many players as possible, not fewer. And then there's the cornerback situation. If a defensive back can play man-to-man coverage, he's invaluable to your team. It's way easier to teach a man coverage guy to play zone than it is to take a zone guy and tell him to lock up one-on-one. But we keep bringing in athletes who can't play press coverage, can't mirror receivers, and can't make plays on the ball. We need cornerbacks who can actually play the position, not just run fast and jump high.
DaRon Bland is scheduled to have surgery on his left foot next week. The screw that was in there broke, and he's been dealing with pain most of the year. That explains a lot about his struggles this season. Hopefully, he's fully healthy for the offseason program and ready to go next year, but we can't count on that. We need depth, we need competition, and we need guys who can step up when injuries happen. Finally, let's talk about the coaching staff. Is Matt Eberflus coming back? Jerry wouldn't commit either way, which tells you everything. This is going to be a process. They're not rushing into any decisions, and honestly, I think that's smart. But here's what I'll say. Eberflus didn't have much to work with. The linebacker core was a mess, the cornerbacks were backups and street free agents, and the defensive line didn't get help until Quinnen Williams arrived via trade. What scheme could you run with that personnel? He tried everything, 5-man rushes, disguised coverages, you name it. And every time we disguised coverage, we got burned because the communication wasn't there. But at the same time, 511 points allowed is inexcusable. 30 points per game is unacceptable. Whether it's scheme, communication, talent, or all of the above, something has to change. And Jerry is right, you can't just blame one person. This is a systemic failure that goes back years. The 2026 schedule is coming soon, and we've got 7 games against playoff teams next year. That's not terrible, it could be worse, but we need to be ready. We need to hit on our draft picks, make smart moves in free agency, and figure out our coaching situation. Because if we don't, we're looking at another mediocre season, another year of wasted potential, and another offseason of asking the same questions we've been asking for years. So here's where I'm at. I'm cautiously optimistic. I like that Jerry is talking about evaluating everything, not just making surface-level changes. But talk is cheap. We need action. We need to address the offensive line, the linebacker core, the cornerback position, and the pass rush. We need to figure out if Eberflus is the guy or if we need a fresh voice. And we need to do it quickly because this league doesn't wait for anyone. What do you think, Cowboys Nation? Where should we focus in the draft? Should Eberflus get another year? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We've got a long offseason ahead, and I'll be here breaking down every move this team makes. Let's ride.